So this book has completely changed my life. I went from unprofitable for over 3 years to now receiving over 217 payouts. And I think this book was a big reason as to why my mind shifted in so many ways that then made me a profitable trader. And so in this video, I want to explain exactly what this book did. Now I have to put it in the backpack. I'm not gonna carry this guy around.
I'm gonna carry.
This book made me so wealthy. I was able to hire someone to just carry the book. Now, reality transurfing introduces one core idea, which is that you can choose the path that you take in life through the actions and the way you perceive the world. And that's what he calls lifelines. So depending on the decisions in the way that I look at the world, I will be presented with different lifelines. For example, you've had this. If you keep being negative and just focusing on the negative things of life, by result, you're just going to have a more negative life. Because it doesn't matter what happens, you will only see the negative. And the truth is that whatever happens in life, there's always positives and negatives. Then it introduces the concept of pendulums. And pendulums, for people who don't know, are pretty much these sort of structures where you pull a ball, for example, and then you let it go and it starts swinging around. And pendulums have completely changed the way that I look at trading psychology, any sort of trade, just anything in my life. And now I want to talk exactly how I applied this in my trading and how it changed my trading forever. Reading the book simply gave me a sense of control of life. The idea that, okay, if I just focus on the right things, I will have positive outcomes. And of course, that's not always going to be linear, but you never know. And this really helped me in the way that I was looking at trades, in the way that I was looking at the things that I was doing. Like backtesting is extremely boring, but I knew that by focusing on the right things that backtesting was giving me, I was more likely to do it, and therefore I was more likely to get to my desired outcome, which would be become a profitable trader. Then we have every single time that I would enter in a profitable or unprofitable trade, there's positives and negatives. And I talk about this inside of Funded Trading Blueprint a lot, which by the way, if you ever want to learn more from me, you can check the first link in the description for Funded Trading Blueprint. If you want to get funded in the next 90 days, just check the first link in the description for Funded Trading Blueprint. One of the things that I always talk about inside of the community is that let's say you do something that you should not have done, right? You take this trade that got you from drawdown and you should not have taken this trade and you should not have taken it with this much risk, but you take it and now you're out of that drawdown. You now think that you've done something good because you won on this specific day. The truth is that that is now the start of a cascade event that will lead you to blowing your account. And if it's not this account, maybe you receive your first payout, great, but eventually it will lead into this cascade event that will actually make you blow all of your accounts. For example, if you stick to your plan and you actually take a trade and that trade is a loss, guess what? That is actually good. It doesn't look like it's good, but it's leading you down the right path. And now the other thing about focusing on the positive things, I find this one very funny, which is I have videos even on YouTube, and I always used to say this. When someone would ask me, okay, what are you doing? And I said, okay, I'm a trader, and blah, blah, blah. The next question is obviously going to be, are you profitable? And for 3 years, I was not profitable. And I never said that I wasn't profitable. I said, I'm not profitable yet. And it's weird because these small differences in the words that you use change your perception by a lot. Because I'm not profitable is a very definitive statement, while I'm not profitable yet is like a, yeah, not yet, but it is coming. It's like a guarantee that it is coming. Now, the second way in which this book helped me a lot was stopping negative spirals early. It introduces an idea of an induced transition. Let's say you take an unprofitable trade, and the induced transition happens when you have strong emotions attached to this specific trade. So now you have an induced transition into the unprofitable trader path because of the emotion that you had, which is the idea of, oh, okay, now I'm gonna take this trade. Now I wanna get out of drawdown. Now I wanna get that payout. I wanna lock in the payout today. The idea that I was able to identify that early led me to, okay, I took an unprofitable trade, focus on the positives. Okay, focus on the positives, stay on the right track. The next way in which this book helped me a lot was by, instead of saying that I was a profitable trader or instead of saying that I was a trader, I did my best to always identify as one, knowing what a profitable trader does and then doing it every single day. I started focusing not on the results, but on the process. And a lot of traders hear this all the time. Hey, don't focus on the results, focus on the process. But all of us really, if you really think about it, just do the opposite. So I spent a lot of months just studying profitable traders, reading, for example, Market Wizards, seeing interviews of profitable traders, seeing how they think. How do you think about losses? How do you think about winners? And from there, I started identifying more as those people, meaning I started having the same thoughts as them. Every single trader that I know, when they take a loss, they're not happy. But the difference between a profitable trader and an unprofitable trader is how quick can they go back to the baseline. I basically took on a whole new identity. And one of the things that I did as soon as I knew that I had to study more profitable traders was actually I started paying to get access to more profitable traders, to understand how they think, to understand what they do, to understand the trades that they take, to understand the reaction to the trades that they take. And this is why I believe that mentorships is something that is incredibly important. And if you guys want to learn more about the way that I trade and the way that I approach trades and the way that I take losses and the way that I take winners and partial wins and partial losses and the way I think about them, then make sure to check the first link in the description. This is where you're going to get access to me literally every single day. You can ask me whatever questions you want, whether I'm in a winning streak or on a losing streak. Pendulums are the easiest part, which is like pendulums is pretty much the more positive emotion you have attached to something, like the opposite is going to be the negative emotion. And then you're just going to be swinging around between positive and negative. Like someone that is extremely attached to something, if they lose it, it's going to swing all the way around because the forces have to neutralize.
So the farthest you go one way, the farthest you go is to the other.
Exactly. So this is why in trading it helped me so much, because what is our trading psychology? How do we approach trading psychology? Is reduce your positive expectations, and therefore your negative expectations are not going to be as large too. Now this book pretty much shaped the way that I look at trading psychology. That book taught me more than the $10,000 that I spent on trading psychology courses. Because all of these trading psychology courses were like, yeah, there's this deep-rooted thing. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think it's about the way that we think about the trades that we take. Every single time you have a lot of attachment to a specific trade, because you think it's going to be a winner, because you think it's the one that is going to get you the payout, because you think it's the one that is going to make you define yourself as a profitable trader, because you think that this is the one that is going to get you out of that drawdown. What are you doing? You're attaching so much value into this winning trade. Every single time that I look at a trade, I now think about what are all of the positives and what are all of the negatives in this specific trade. Because if I look at both, not only the reasons why this trade is going to win, then the pendulum is going to be way smaller and my emotions are going to be kept in place. And this is important because, as we talked about before, when you have this emotional reaction, this is where the transition happens. And the less emotion you have on a trade-by-trade basis, the lower the probability of you having that transition. Therefore, the higher the probability of you becoming a profitable trader. This book is very stoic-like. When you're watching price action, that's all you're doing. You're watching price action. Whether you are in a trade or whether you're not in a trade, it's just price action. And so it also neutralized every single way that I looked at the market. So emotions were pretty reduced. And this is something that I get a lot, which is, why are you in drawdown, in 90% drawdown, and you don't just feel the need to close the position? And it doesn't even cross my mind, because I know it's not mathematically viable. But it's also because a loss and a win, to me, they're just the same thing. And that stoic-like mentality is what literally every single trader needs. Price action becomes just price. When you're seeing that the market is going without you, you don't feel FOMO because you understand more trades are going to come. But once you let go, that's when everything starts going your way. I was talking with Guillermo, and I actually want to talk with Guillermo because he said something very interesting. recently. I was talking about how letting go is how you don't feel FOMO.
Oh.
And how when you let go, this deep-rooted need to become a profitable trader is actually when you become a profitable trader. Do you want to talk more about when you let go and how that affected your results?
So when I started trading, I was at uni, right? So I was in my last 2 years, last year, and I kind of felt the pressure of profitability. So at that point, I had that massive pressure of I need to make it happen. And then when I found a job that I was actually comfortable with, and I just let go of that pressure, it was no more a survival thing. At that point, I just let go and everything was easier. Like I stopped making stupid decisions. I stopped taking stupid trades. I just focused on the highest probability ones because I didn't have that time pressure anymore. That's essentially where I was like, damn, I just became profitable.
That is pretty much it about this book. So it introduced a sense of calm in me that reduced the amount of emotions that I felt on a day-to-day basis when I was looking at the charts, which in turn, by reducing or even removing in some cases the emotion and just letting go, that's when I became a profitable trader. I took control of my life. I reduced the attachment that I had to any sort of result, and that took me from unprofitable trader for 3 years to now having over 217 payouts. So with that, hope you all enjoyed. See you in the next one. Peace.